age, my generation, I like terrified of being embarrassed. Hello, and welcome to the editing suite, where my friend Jamie, who's a great video editor, and I are working on the DVD of my recent UK tour. The last day of the tour in Bath, beautiful theatre. We shot lots of footage, and Jamie and I are now cutting it together to make it as funny as we can. Now, here's a warning. It's a fan show. If you don't like Monty Python, if you hate Fawlty Towers, you will loathe this DVD. Stay away. But if you like Fawlty Towers, if you like Python, if you like Fish Called Wanda, the sort of stuff I do, then I can pretty much guarantee you're going to love this. And so it was in this tedious little town that my mother was born into a large Edwardian family in October 1899, and she died in Weston at the age of 101 in October 2000, her life having spanned the entire 20th century. From the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand in Sarajevo through the First World War, the Great Depression, the rise of Hitler and Stalin, World War II, the atomic bomb, the foundation of Israel, the Cold War, the space age, and the collapse of communism. She lived through it all without really noticing any of it. I mean, she knew that there was a war with Germany and that a man called Hitler was in charge of the Germans. But frankly, she had more pressing things on her mind, namely her worries and her phobias. Now, she was an award-winning warrior, but it was her phobias that brought real colour to her life. I once listed them. She had all the obvious ones, like fear of heights, fear of water, fear of the dark, fear of crowds, fear of fire, fear of snakes. Then she suffered badly from claustrophobia, but also from agoraphobia. So getting the right size of space for her could be quite tricky. Then she had a morbid dread of horses, fire engines, albinos, Charlie Drake, fireworks, crabs, combine harvesters, Bristol City, church bells, thunder, dwarfs, goats, Belgians, low-flying aircraft, Henry Moore sculptures, sharks, brass bands, raccoons, chariots, chiming doorbells, people wearing eye patches, fog, and Princess Margaret. Any other scene in the movie. And that is the scene all the producers wanted to cut. So what's going on here? I think I can explain it. When we started to show Fish Called Wanda, you know, the test screenings to audiences, we used to ask the audiences to fill out what we call an evaluation card. And they would be asked, what do you think of the music? Did you like the ending? And one of the questions was, what are the 3 funniest scenes in the movie for you? And when we added up the votes, we found the funniest scene was killing the dogs. The second funniest was Michael with the chips up his nose. And the third was me dancing around naked speaking Russian. Then at the back it said, what were the 3 most offensive scenes for you in the movie? And the 3 were killing the dogs, Michael with the chips up his nose, and me dancing. So what is going on here? Well, I think when you get into taboo areas, that is areas like dead bodies or limbs coming off or anything sexual, there's always a little bit of anxiety because it is taboo, you see. But for some people, just a few, there's a lot of anxiety. So when the subject is raised, they kind of freeze up and they feel very uncomfortable and they hate it and they hate the fact that people around them are laughing so much and they say, I've been offended. However, most people just have a little bit of anxiety. So what happens if you make them laugh? You get an even bigger laugh than you do normally because you get the normal laugh and then you get the extra energy that comes from that little bit of anxiety being liberated. So you get huge laughs when you deal with taboo subjects. And that's one reason why my humor has a pretty black quality to it some of the time. Ladies and gentlemen, because I'm killing myself later on, I do worry that my extraordinary comedic legacy may not live on. Now, over the years, I've had to endure people mimicking my performances in restaurants, in airplanes, in hospices. Even my proctologist greets me with a silly walk. But These homages have given me an idea. What if I were to assemble some of the best and brightest Cleese copycats and stage a contest to find my replacement, a Cleese idol, if you will? Ladies and gentlemen, tonight one person will be chosen for the ultimate honor, the right to perform my beloved routines from this day forward. Of course, I'll be the judge, so that means we need a host, preferably someone as universally adored as I am.
Hello everyone, I'm Ben Mulrooney and welcome to Cleese Idol. Tonight, 3 lucky contestants will vie for the right to carry on the legacy of Mr. John Cleese, but only one will get to be crowned the Cleese Idol. And here to judge their efforts is the suicidal funny man, John Cleese.
What was his name again? Oh, thank you, Ben. I just wanted to say that I never understood why your hosting skills have received so much vicious criticism. Until now.
Well, thank you, John. Are you ready to meet our first competitor?
Please, Ben, no eye contact.
Absolutely. Here performing John's famous parrot sketch all the way from your hometown of England, I give you Matthew Cope.
Mr. Cleese, I'd just like to say it's an honor.
Yes, of course it is. You see what I mean by undignified fawning? Well, just get on with it.
Pining for the fjords? He's not pining. He's passed on. This parrot is no more. He's rung down
Matthew,
the curtain.
I must just stop you here before audience members are trampled to death stampeding for a refund. I always like to start my critiques with something positive. So let me just say, you're positively dreadful. If I had to watch you anymore, I'd get shingles.
Come on, John. He's not bad.
No, he's not bad. You're right. He's worse than bad. The word has not yet been coined to describe the new level of dreck that he has achieved. Although I'm leaning towards the word Mulrooney. Go on, bugger off back to obscurity.
Up next, performing one of John's classic moments, he's a software analyst from Westmount who's always dreamed of performing on the big stage. Please welcome Jason Whiting.
Do you have any idea how much I hate you? You sack of pus, what a shitty walk. Give me that. Actually, that's getting better. That's quite funny.
John, you're turning into the mean judge.
I'm British, Ben. Mean judging is all we do these days.
Our next contestant is a 911 operator from right here in Montreal who enjoys entertaining callers with his hilarious celebrity impressions. Please get ready for the magical mimicry of crazy Neil Jana. Okay, well, gee, John, it seems that we are fresh out of contestants. Maybe we should think about, wrapping this thing up here.
Well, it's as I suspected, Ben. I'm irreplaceable. But before we go, there is one thing I'd like to do as a special gift for all my wonderful Canadian fans.
What's that?
Ladies and gentlemen, our next performer has turned his deformity into his art. He has traveled all over the world performing for thousands of nauseated audiences, and he's been the standout piece at the festival in La Clique. Please welcome the horrifying, delightful Captain...
At man var innvandrer ikke trenger å lære norsk selv om man bor her. Og dere fikk få stemmer, men det virker jo feil. I'm sorry, I can't understand it. Men når dere her og bor her I landet, så må dere vel lære dere norsk. Det poenget å delta I debatten og være med I det norske samfunnet. I don't know why you bother to speak Norwegian. I mean, nobody wants to speak Norwegian. Do you think there are people in Buenos Aires or New Delhi or Caracas running into Berlitz language school saying we want to speak Norwegian? Norwegian is the silliest language in the world. Dutch is the silliest language. Norwegian is the second silliest language. You all speak perfectly good English. You should stop speaking Norwegian straight away. It's a waste of time. Ordinary auditorium. And as we're getting close now to the end of the show, before we all say goodbye, I would like to give a personally signed John Cleese t-shirt to a random member of the audience. And it has been decided that we are going to decide who this random member is because I've been given a fishbowl here with the numbers of all the seats in the spectrum. And I will now pick a random seat number. Here we are, and the lucky winner of the signed John Cleese t-shirt is the person sitting in field 108, which I think is somewhere up there, row 20, and it is seat 2. So could the person in row 20, seat 2, please identify themselves up there? Yes. Ah, thank you, sir. Well done. Come on down and receive your signed t-shirt, if you will. Thank you. Come along. We're going to... Congratulations. Oh, how embarrassing. I'm sorry, I read the seat number out wrongly. It's not number 2, it is seat 3. Sorry about that. Would you be kind enough to give this t-shirt to the man sitting next to you on your left? Thank you. Well done. A few years ago, there was a clip on Norwegian television about a band that played so-called apropos music. Apropos music is music that is played apropos whatever the radio host is talking about. Now, these guys are here tonight to play some of their favorite songs for you. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for the apropos band.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I try today to learn something new. Each day I want to learn something new because I'm very, very old and will be dead soon. So I want to be as well informed as I can possibly be when I die. And listening to the Flemish language today, I realize why it is called Flemish, and that is because it is the best language ever invented anywhere in the world for disposing of phlegm. When I went to Cambridge and joined a club called the Footlights, which produced a show at the end of each year in the local Cambridge professional theatre, sketches and songs and this kind of thing, when I suddenly discovered that I could sit down with a blank sheet of paper and 2 hours later I could have written something that then made people laugh, this was an extraordinary moment for me. And I thought, my goodness, I am creative. So because I had been brought up as a scientist, I got into Cambridge on science, I started observing what was going on when I was creating. And for example, the first thing that I noticed is that if I was trying to write a sketch at night, and I got stuck, or I couldn't think of an ending, or I couldn't see how to continue the sketch, I would go to bed. And when I woke up in the morning and made myself a cup of coffee and went back to my desk and looked at the problem, not only was the solution to this problem immediately apparent to me, but I couldn't even remember what the problem had been the previous night. I couldn't understand why I did not see what the solution was. So I began to realize that this business of sleeping on a problem, as we say in the English language, and I think you have a very similar phrase, the idea of working at something, thinking about something, going to bed, and then waking up with a solution was absolutely extraordinary. And that is actually the key to what I'm talking to you about today. Now, this business of coming to a solution overnight without thinking about it. The next extraordinary experience I had is I wrote a script, and I like this script very, very much. And because I'm always been a bit disorganized, I lost it. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was pretty disappointed. But I sat down and I forced myself to rewrite it from memory. And it didn't take terribly long, and then I found the original. And fortunately, I was curious enough to compare the two. And what I discovered was the one that I had rewritten from memory was noticeably better than the original that I'd lost. And I realized that the explanation for this was that after I'd finished writing the original, my unconscious part of my mind, my unconscious, must have continued working on it, even though I was not aware that that was what was happening, with the result that when I came to write it out again, it was better. Because why else would it have been better? Particularly as I wrote it out the second time much faster. So I began to see that there was something going on, that there was a part of my mind that was helping me be much more creative. The next thing that I noticed was that the most dangerous thing when I was trying to write anything was to be interrupted. Because the flow of thought that I had was not immediately picked up after the interruption. It took me a very long time. Now, if I was writing something that was relatively straightforward, like a monologue, it was easier to pick it up. What I discovered later on, writing Fawlty Towers, where as I was imagining a situation, I was having to carry in my mind the emotional states of all the people taking part in that scene, that I noticed that interruptions were much more destructive. So the key to getting in a creative state is to avoid interruptions. Now, People often say to me, where do you get your ideas from? And I say, I get them from a Mr. Ken Levinshaw, who lives in Swindon. He sends them to me every Monday morning on a postcard. And I say, I once asked Ken where he gets his ideas from, and he gets them from a lady called Mildred Spong, who lives on the Isle of Wight. But he once asked Mildred Spong where she got her ideas from, and she refused to say. So the point is, we don't know. This is terribly important. We don't know where we get our ideas from. What we do know is we do not get them from our laptops. In fact, as I was indicating to you by recounting my earliest experiences, we get our ideas from what I'm going to call for a moment our unconscious, the part of our mind that goes on working, for example, when we're asleep. So what I'm saying is that if you get into the right mood, then your mode of thinking will become much more creative. But if you're racing around all day, ticking things off on lists, looking at your watch, making phone calls, and generally just keeping all the balls in the air, you are not going to have any creative ideas. So now I want to run very quickly over how in this sort of frenzied world that we all live in, how you can create a mood that will enable you to be more creative. And basically, the way I put it is that you need to create a tortoise enclosure so that your little tortoise mind can, it's a little nervous creature, just look around and then think, yes, it's safe to come out. And to do this, you have to create a kind of oasis in your life in the middle of the stressed, oh, I've got to do this, I've forgotten to do that, I have to be there by 11. In the middle of all of that, you have to create an oasis, a tortoise enclosure where your tortoise mind can come out to play. And there's two things you have to do. You have to create boundaries of space, and you have to create boundaries of time. It's as simple as that. So boundaries of space simply means you create boundaries to avoid the interruptions that I was talking about earlier, which is so disastrous to the creative process. So, if you're a fat cat at the top of an organization, you say to your lovely assistant, please, I am now going to think, do not interrupt me unless the building is burning down for an hour and a quarter. And if you're at the bottom of the hierarchy, maybe you just go out into the park with an umbrella if you're in Belgium, and you just sit there quietly where you are not going to be interrupted, but you create boundaries of space. So what you have to do when you've created boundaries of space where you're not going to be interrupted is you have to give yourself a starting time and a finish time. Because when you do that, you've created an oasis that is separate from ordinary life, and then, and only then, can you play. Boundaries of space, boundaries of time. It's as simple as that. To know how good you are at something requires the same skills as it does to be good at that thing. Which means if you're absolutely hopeless at something, you lack exactly the skills that you need to know that you're absolutely hopeless at it. And this is a profound discovery. That most people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing have absolutely no idea that they have no idea what they're doing. It explains a great deal of life. It explains particularly Hollywood. But it also explains why so many people in charge of so many organizations have no idea what they're doing. They have a terrible blind spot. And the problem with the teachers may be that the teachers do not realize that they themselves are not very creative. And therefore, they may not value creativity, even if they can recognize it. If the people in charge are very egotistical, then they want to take credit for everything that happens, and they want to feel that they are in control of everything that happens, and that means consciously or unconsciously they will discourage creativity in other people.
Insincerity. A politician saying, "My friends." The Inland Revenue saying, "We remain, sir, your obedient servants." The telephone service saying, "Sorry you've been troubled." A policeman saying, "Merry Christmas." Yes, insincerity is a powerful irritant and a major weapon in the armory of nature's liars, salesmen.
Hello, Mr. Alice. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Mrs. Alice keeping well, is she?
Yes, she's very well.
Lovely weather, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, if you don't mind, I've got to nip off down there.
Well, I brought the car in.
Oh, the car. Lovely model, lovely model. Never any trouble with those. I don't know why they stopped making them.
Well, I have had some trouble with it.
No, never. Never any trouble. If you have any trouble, I'll bring it in.
Look, I have had some trouble and I have brought it in. Will you have a look at it?
Well, it's a bit difficult at the moment. You see, everyone's up at lunch. Would you like to call, make an appointment?
Well, I have called several times, and the moment I give my name, they hang up.
Yes, well, we've been having a lot of trouble with the phones, you see. I've been trying to call you myself.
Look, just come and have a look at it.
Well, the mechanic's off at lunch. That's the real trouble.
Look, I just want you to come and take a quick look at it now.
Righto, Squire. You say the word. Lead the way.
Right. Mr. Gibson?
Ah, there you are. Right, let's have a look at the lovely,
After you.
lovely model this. Never any trouble with these. Not one single complaint about these have I had. Mrs. Alice keeping well, is she?
The gear lever is loose.
No.
The gear lever is loose. Look at it.
Oh, well, you're waggling it, aren't you?
All right, you do it. It is loose.
Oh, well, your gear lever's loose, isn't it? That's where your trouble is.
I can't get into third half of the time.
Well, you must expect teething troubles in these new models. Best gearbox made.
Well, why can't I get into third then?
Well, give it time. Precision gearbox. Bound to stick a little in third. Sign of top quality. You have any trouble, though? Bring it in.
Look, I have had trouble and I have brought it in.
Top class gearbox, this. The best. Anyway, I'll get the mechanic to screw this back on. Lovely seeing you, Mr. Harris. Lovely seeing you.
And the back door falls off.
No. No.
The back door falls off.
No. Oh, it's a grip safe door, isn't it? You're not using it right. Give me the copy of the manual. Shouldn't have any more trouble. Nice to see you, Mr. Harris.
And the brakes slip badly.
Don't tell me that. I'm a brake man.
They are dangerous. They slip.
Well, they are new.
They do not stop the car.
It's stopped, isn't it?
Look, I'll get in. You push.
Right.
All right?
All right. Oh. Ah. Oh. Ah. Ah. Oh. Ah. There I was, pushing for all I was worth. Brakes held.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't have the brakes on.
Well, the wheels are stiff, aren't they? They're brand new.
Look, you get in. I'll push. Right, handbrake off.
Tell you what, bring it in, we'll have a look at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Cleese.
See, I'm getting to you already. Now, tonight, we're going to take a look at how to irritate people at life. We can't, of course, hope to be comprehensive, so just look on this as a refresher course, a few hints on how to help people to become more neurotic. Now, if you want to irritate people purely for pleasure, one fundamental rule must be observed. Never push them too far. If you do go too far, they will explode into anger, shouting, stamping, becoming abusive, and so forth, which releases all the tensions and frustrations that we've carefully built up. And we don't want to do that, do we? With a little skill and tact, we can keep those very same tensions bottled up inside them for weeks, months, who knows. Eventually, you may induce a nervous breakdown, or, better still, actual damage to the brain cells. So, to avoid this explosion of anger, whatever you're doing to irritate someone should seem to be unintentional. And the great masters of this art are parents.
You don't want to watch this, do you, Malcolm?
Yes, I'd like to if you don't mind, Dad.
How about my favourite daughter-in-law? You don't want to watch this, do you, Pamela?
Please, Dad.
We'd both like to watch it if you don't mind, Dad. It's only half an hour.
Well, I've got plenty to do. I'll go and get dinner ready.
Well, there's that very good quiz show that you'd like on the other...
We'd rather watch this, Dad. It's the only thing we really want to see this evening, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind. What is it?
It's the last episode of Tale of Two Cities.
Well, it's one of those costume things.
That's right, Dad.
Whoa. Don't know what you want to watch this for. It's a costume thing. You don't want to watch a costume thing, do you, Pamela?
Please, Dad.
Whoa. Wouldn't have thought you two wanted to watch a costume thing, but still. Oh. Well, I don't think much of it. Well, it's a morbid sort of thing, isn't it? I don't know what you want to watch this for. I'm going to read the paper.
Oh, Dad, please.
Oh, I read this paper. Oh, I better read the other one. Oh. Don't know what anyone sees in those costume things. I don't know.
Dad, please.
Oh.
Have you seen my blue cardi, dear? Have you, Malcolm?
What?
Have you seen my blue cardigan, dear?
No.
Oh.
Why don't you ask Dad?
He's reading the paper, dear.
Oh, I don't know what they want to watch this for. Depressing. Costume thing. Oh, I'm going to read the paper.
Don't talk when they're watching television, dear.
I wasn't talking.
Yes, you were.
Oh, I only said I didn't know what they wanted to watch this for. Then I said I'd read the paper.
It's very irritating having people talking when you're trying to watch television.
Yes, it is.
See? He likes these costume things. Don't you, Malcolm, dear?
Oh, it's not rubbish if you ask me. Oh.
What are you doing?
I'm only doing the great, dear. Malcolm! You mustn't have it up that loud, dear. This is typical, dear.
I wish we could.
Turn it down, Malcolm.
I
can't hear.
Do as your mother says, Malcolm. You don't want to upset her now, do you?
Won't be a moment.
Dad, what are you doing?
I'm making pipe lighters. No need to waste money on matches.
Well, please can you do it quietly?
Those of us who've lived through the 30s will know that money doesn't grow on trees.
Oh, please, Dad. We want to listen.
I'm only saving money.
You want lamb chops, Stella. You want lamb chops, Malcolm?
Anything.
Peas?
Oh, yes.
They're frozen. Oh, potatoes?
Yes.
We haven't got any mint, you know.
Oh.
No mint.
Malcolm, we haven't got any mint, dear. Would you prefer the chicken?
Anything.
Peas?
Oh, shut up!
Oh!
Oh, Malcolm, you shouldn't have spoken to your mother like that, Malcolm.
She kept on talking.
I was only asking you what you wanted for your dinner.
Oh, you better go and have a word with her, Malcolm. No, you go, Malcolm. You did it. Now, look, Malcolm. You've made your mother cry now. You've upset her. Now, you go and have a word with her.
I want to watch this.
Come on, Malcolm. Your mother comes first, Malcolm. I like an ice cream show.
And you have won a monogrammed ice cube.